All right, welcome in and good evening to another episode of Let's Talk More Action. And what that action is we are a new gambling and fantasy sports podcast. Everybody seems to have one of these. The only difference is we seem to get shit right. So we're hoping you join along and you listen in and you hang on for the entire half an hour that we're going to be with you. And just to give ourselves a little bit of credibility here on Let's Talk More Action, my partner and I, my co-host, Brad Shoulders, went 9 of 10 in the round of 32, yes, leading in to your Sweet 16, which we will be breaking down tonight, and the remaining 16 teams that seem to be very chalky left in this tournament. So, to my co-host, Brad Shoulders, I got to tell you, congratulations, because everybody has a goal of you got to hit about 70 to 74% throughout a regular season, throughout basically the playoffs of something. But during the tournament, 74% is good, but when you're batting 95%, that's damn good.
I think they call that actually being unconscious.
Yes.
And I want to.
We heard a lot of that.
Yeah, I just want to pay a little tribute, though, to my Illini boys, because it was 19 years ago today that they had the greatest comeback of all time in the March Madness. They were down.
Is that today?
That was 19 years ago today. So they pulled up. They were down 15.
Arizona.
They
D. Brown.
They were down 15 with a little over 3 minutes to go, and they just caught fire, and it was just a thing of beauty.
And the regional was where again?
They were in Chicago. It was I thought
okay.
You had in the back screen. They were in the old DePaul Stadium. It wasn't.
Okay, and here's the reason I know this, because I was working with NBC in Eau Claire, Wisconsin at the time, and I had the opportunity. My sports director at that time, who's now the news director, offered me the opportunity to go to that game, and I passed it up.
Are you kidding?
And it wasn't. Here's the thing. It wasn't with the ticket. It was with the media credential.
Which is
one of the worst mistakes you could ever possibly make. And here's the thing: is Norman Powell was on the team, and now I'm living in Rockford. He ended up with the Rockford Lightning a couple years later, and I had to bring that game up to him in my first interview. So, why don't we get this started? We basically can start there because we were going to start in the West, and instead of starting with Uconn and San Diego State, let's talk about the Illini. I think here's the other thing. I went on that rant last week, so if you watched the podcast, thank you for doing that. Again, this is a podcast that's about a half an hour long. We try to break down the games, give you at least a good gambling angle, but we call it Let's Talk More Action because we really want to talk about the action. If you watch these other podcasts, these guys want to break down all these numbers. We're really going to get into the numbers that matter, and that's going to be the spread and the over and the under. And so let's start with Illinois, plus 1.5. The thing is, we live in Illinois, so we can't bet Illinois anything. You can't bet anything Illinois that involves the universities. Different states have different rules. I just found out that in Iowa, you could actually bet the University of Iowa, and in Iowa, you can bet Iowa State. So the thing is I so happen to possibly be heading to Iowa. So be it on Thursday night. So the question's going to become, this is now real because last time we couldn't do anything about it. Right. Who am I taking and why?
How could you not stay with the Illini? I mean, they're actually getting points this week. I mean, how can they're hot? They're as hot as anybody in the tournament right now. You can't not be on.
And you're basically, though, saying it's a pick-em. The only thing that I worry about with this team is, I mean, hypothetically, okay, so when I looked at this, I was thinking that, okay, this is what my buddy used to call the double banger. And by this, it's a sports gambling analogy. At least he had. Take it other ways. Do what you want with it. But this is where we go with this. If you're taking Illinois, you're taking the over. If you're taking Iowa State, you're taking the under. Because you're thinking, if you're going to take Iowa State, in order to win this game, they have to play good defense, and they're going to have to defend what is Terrence Shannon. I was going to say D. Brown. He plays a lot like D, though, because he can get up and down the floor, and, he's a catalyst, right? He just does a great job. I mean, so do you agree with the idea that if you're going to toy with an over-under here at 146, I mean, you're going to go, maybe this is a, same-game parlay, and you're going to try Illinois, and you're going to try an over Iowa State and an under?
Yeah, I like that. That's a good angle, definitely. And I'm staying with my Illini, so I would have to take Illinois in the over. I mean,
okay. And so what?
Everyone's touting Iowa, Iowa State's defense, and I get it. I'm sure they got a good one, but I'll tell you what, man, they're going to have to score. I don't care how good their D is, they're going to have to score. And their two best players, keep this in mind, their two best players, their best players, Lipsy, the guard.
Right, Cameron Lipsy.
He's a sophomore. Their second, or we might call him their third best player, is what Mamalovic.
Yes.
He's a freshman. So what I'm getting at is those guys. That's it. So you're better at names than me, but their two best players are basically a freshman and sophomore. So can they hold up in the pressure? That's going to be huge, man.
And he's going to draw Damask, or Damask, however you want to pronounce it at this point. But I mean, and he threw up a triple-double in the first round. I mean, you got to figure and you've had Dane Danger, and he's been playing lights out. So I mean, he keeps this up. I mean, I don't know. I'm with you. I'm on the Illinois side of things, not because we live in Illinois. I grew up in Wisconsin. I'm a Badger fan by true nature, but if I'm going to be a wise betting man, my money on this game is going to be taking probably the Illinois money line, because I think the -1.5 is to pick them, and I'm going to get it and catch it at probably +125. I'm going to grab Illinois, and I'm going to do one individual, and I would probably consider parlaying it. But if you're looking at like a game prop or a player prop to do that, I mean, are you thinking Terrence Shannon threes? Maybe are you thinking Demas might be able to put another great game together, or you take a look at Guerrier. He's got something there. Any of those big boys down low.
Well, I'm going to go one step further. I seen a prop. It was Terrence Shannon to be the top scorer in the East region for a round of the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8. He's +250. I'd stay on that. I don't have any in particular for just one game, but for if they can win this and get to the Elite 8, I mean, the guy has just been throwing 30 balls around game in and game out. He's like,
okay, give me the prop again. It's Terrence Shannon, +250, highest scorer in the East region.
For the round of Sweet 16 and Elite 8 only.
Correct. Okay. It's two games.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And I mean, who's done better, who's done more in the last two games than him?
Right. And the thing is if they do have to meet Uconn in the next round, Uconn spreads the ball around. So as we graduate and move to that game, we've told you Illinois is probably, at least for us, going to be the play at -1.5 or +1.5 or possibly money line. You're moving into a Uconn line that's -10.5. And to me, I will tell you something. So a lot of the favorites covered in the round of 32. A lot. There was a lot of money to be made. If you look back at our last podcast, we were on a lot of favorites, and we were kind of like, oh, this usually doesn't make a lot of sense. Like North Carolina, we were hammering Gonzaga, and you're like, this can't go well. This can't go this well, and it went that well. To me, I'm starting to look at this, the Sweet 16, and I'm liking a lot of the dogs. And I just think San Diego State is well-rounded. They've played in the big game before. They have three really good guards, and especially Butler. And then they have Eaddy up top, who's very good. And I think he can hang in there with Donovan Clingan from Uconn and keep this thing closer than 10.5.
I'm with you on that. I was going to say the same thing. I mean, Connecticut hasn't been in a tight ball game in probably a month. So if they get in a tight ball game, the little sphincters are going to really tighten up, and we'll see how good they are.
Right, and the thing is, you have Tristan Newton, a really good guard, and if you're to give me a guy, if I'm thinking, how does that Terrence Shannon prop get ruined? My guess is it's probably a Tristan Newton or a Donovan Clingan on the Uconn side of things. But I'm just looking from this perspective that I think San Diego State traditionally is going to slow it down. They like to play a really physical style of basketball, and I'm going to be on that +10.5 here. I might try to buy up to 11. I think they're the play. I don't think they win the game, but I certainly think they're going to keep it close. The over-unders, I don't care for that. So, we're not here to tell you guys as listeners, take every game. It's not how you make money. That's why Vegas is as rich as they are and why buildings are as big as they are. So for me, I don't have a play on the over-under at 136, but I do like San Diego State giving me that 10.5 or 11.
I'm with you 100% on that. I like it too.
Okay. And traditionally, I'm trying not to play a lot of props in this game because I do feel this game could be traditionally lower scoring. So we go to the same side of the bracket on the West, and you have a game that is going to be absolutely bananas. And I don't know who's on the call for this game. I wish I knew already. I probably should have looked it up because an announcer can make or break a game. And when you have an over-under that you open it up and you say to yourself, I think the over-under is going to be 175, and then you see Vegas has it set at 173.5, you know you're about right on the money. And if we've got a good announcer, this game's going to be bonkers right from the jump. So North Carolina, Bama, 173 to 174, bouncing around at the over-under. NC minus 3.5. I don't know, man. If Mark Sears can get hot, and we've talked the Kemba Walker effect in a couple shows, he gets hot, he can carry this team, I think, past NC. But my only thing tells me NC's got some really good guys down low in Armando Bacot and Harrison Ingram, and I think those two are going to be the answer. And I think Carolina gets past this one and covers the line.
I'm with you. I got North Carolina minus 3.5 on my sheet, and I don't think this is one of Bama's better teams. We've seen a couple of good teams they've had in the last couple of years. I don't think this is it, and I don't think they play the defense. Again, it's going to be a shootout, like you said, and I just think North Carolina's got more horses. That's where I'm at with it.
And I do too. And I think if you're looking at this, like right now, I'm looking here for something maybe a little more exotic. And the thing is Armando Bacot in the last 10 games, 8 to 10 games of the regular season, just didn't have it all there. He has put together a run in the ACC tournament and this NCAA tournament. He has been everything March Madness wants to see in an elite player. And in my opinion, he could really have a game here. Armando Bacot, I mean, he has been averaging about 9 to 10 to 11 boards a game. When you look at his rebounding throughout the season, he's 368 rebounds throughout the entire year. I mean, that's a lot of boards. And then you look up Harrison Ingram, and he had 318 rebounds. I think North Carolina out-rebounds him on the glass, and I think North Carolina actually wins maybe by 8 or 9. We maybe get off to the start that we saw with Michigan State where things were a little slow and sluggish. But in the end, Brad, I just think North Carolina is too much. But if I'm propping something and everybody looks for the points and the three-pointers, I like Bacot or Ingram to wash the windows with him here and get him on the glass.
I'm with you with Bacot too. He's actually gone back to his 2022 tournament. When they won it all and he was the stud. He dominated. I think he's found that flow again. I think he's on that run. And I think you nailed it. If you're going to play a prop bet, I'd load up on him for sure.
All right, you're carrying multiple computers. You actually have a better operation than I have going. I just have the NIT game going behind me because that's what degenerates do. So occasionally if you see me looking like this, I need to find the score of what's going on for a reason. So anyhow, if you can find what the prop line is, I'd like to know if there's a place you might be able to get me or guide me because of the operation I'm working on getting set up soon. I will be able to have that on hand, but I'm looking at maybe trying to take a Bacot over on rebounds or Harrison Ingram over on rebounds. If you were going to try something else, R.J. Davis, I mean, he puts up 275 attempted threes. He's made 113. So I mean, he's well below 50%. But he's shooting at about 37%, or maybe 35, 36. Anyways, that would maybe the only other spot. I feel like I'm going to take a three-point shooter. I think that's where it comes from. In the meantime, it's Mark Sears to me or nothing for Alabama. He's going to have to put up 25-plus and go over his total if Alabama's going to cover. So if you get a prop, let me know because I'd like to know what it is. As I continue to the West, I'm looking at a game that intrigues me for a lot of different reasons. I did not have Clemson in this position in my bracket. I had St. Mary's. I had New Mexico as well. Was that the St. Mary's side of things? No, that was not. So it was New Mexico that I had on this side. So it was New Mexico there against Arizona. I just thought New Mexico was too tough. Clemson got there. I had New Mexico in the Elite Eight, which tells me I probably should be taking Clemson, but boy, this Arizona team's been looking really good, unless you got a prop for me.
I think Clemson's. I think they've ran this as far as they're going to go. They've been playing Cinderella story. I think their time runs out. Arizona is Arizona. This is their time of year. I think they've got a good, solid squad. I like Arizona in this one. I'm looking up your Bacot, not to switch gears on you here.
No, well, we want to know. People want to know because we feel like we got a winner, so we're trying to give you winners. We plan on trying to deliver again on our promise of at least hitting 75%. I can't promise the 92% we did the other day, but we're sure as heck going to try. So,
well, Bacot 10+ rebounds. He's minus 205.
Okay, then here we go. Let's discuss this for 1 second. No, absolutely not. Do not give the house any bigger advantage than they already have. You don't want to lay 200 to win 100, or in somebody's cases, like, again, we talk about units. For me, a unit would be $25. For my neighbors down the street, a unit is $10. It's about having fun. It's about enjoying it. But for me, I'm not laying 50 to try to chase to get to 25. 10.5 rebounds is a lot. I figured maybe we were catching plus money actually on a double-digit rebound total, but we're not. And that tells me I probably don't want to play this, because if we're learning anything, don't give Vegas any more advantage than they already have.
I mean, if you felt like totally obligated, or you just got to have some action on this game, you've got player combos. The Baycott total points plus rebounds is over 27.5, is minus 113. I mean, if you felt like you had to play something on Baycott, that'd be the route to go. But like you said, I don't like to give Vegas any more than I have to. But if you wanted to have some action on it, over 27.5 total points and rebounds is only minus 113. So.
I mean, you're talking about literally hitting his average on points. I just, I mean, again, this is kind of us. We also, both of us have day jobs, so it's not like we just sit here and break down the statistics, everything. We try to give you as many winners as we can, the reasons why we give you winners. I didn't get a chance to look at that line, so it's probably not something I would actually consider playing. Is Harrison Ingram there? Is there something maybe you see with his rebounds? I think somebody's going to dominate the glass in that game, and they've got to go over the total of rebounds. If we go back to that for 1 second.
The only way you're going to get positive on Baycott, you got to go over 12. 12 plus rebounds, he's plus 110. 14 plus rebounds, he's plus 235. So he's going to have a big day on the boards. Not inconceivable with him, but you're going to have to go over 12 boards to get there.
But if I'm going to do that, I think I would rather go the 12. I know some, and there's a lot of gambling analogy out there of like, hey, I do it this way, I do it that way. Everybody has a difference in opinion, but I'm not giving the house a bigger advantage than they already have by minus 2 and 300s. It's the one thing that I can't stand, because I always feel like, they have the advantage already. I don't want to give them a bigger one. So I don't know. I'm going to stick with this. I'm going to go with the Baycott over 12. I'm going to go with that. That's my play. Take him over 12. Get that plus money. I'm going to take it as well. I back up everything that I say I'm going to play. I do it with my own money. And so, I'm going to go with Baycott over 12. We've got NC minus the 3.5. We're both feeling Arizona here. Am I correct on that, just to move on and go to the other side?
10-4.
Okay. My only other thing is, are you feeling a prop in the way of Caleb Love, or like maybe like an Umar Ballo? I mean, those guys' tendency to, to me though, Arizona's like a complete team here, and I just feel, I don't know, to me feel like the safest play not to get is just take Arizona in -7.
I'm with you. That's
okay.
I've got a prop I'm in love with in the South, but I'll wait till we get there.
Okay, well, we're in the South now, so let's start with Duke and Houston. So we're at 133 on the total. We're at minus 4.5. Again, we're not here to play every game. We're here to find maybe an advantage somewhere and give it to you guys. My thought here is, if we're going to do anything at all, I'm back on Duke, man. Their guard play's been too good.
You're going to give me Duke in 4.5. I'll bet I will. That's my 5-star. Bury the bookie. Duke plus, I got them at 4.5 right now. I don't know how you cannot bet that. The way they're playing, the way they're shooting. Houston, I'm not a sold on Houston myself.
So you're Duke plus 4.5.
Yep, all day. Duke plus 4.5.
Here's the only other thing is, I just think it's interesting that the game they got stuck in the other night. I mean, what a game! And in my opinion, Texas A&M, I had Texas A&M plus the 8.5. It was a show. It was a play we gave out on the show. We both thought Texas A&M catching 8.5 was way too many. And there was a point maybe with the final 2 minutes where they went crazy, right? But Texas A&M was a really good team. I think Duke is the superior team here, and that's why when I saw Houston kind of cave and buckle under that kind of pressure and all these guys fouling out and it's kind of chaos on the floor, because it was probably the best first-round game you could have watched in the tournament. The second-round game you could have watched in the tournament. I mean, it was an awesome, elite game. I think Spiro Ditas was on the call. He did one hell of a job to call that game, and it was an awesome comeback. And to me, when I saw Houston kind of caving under the pressure, that's what made me told me I want Duke here in this spot.
Well, think about it. A&M, I think, was, I don't know, 24 out of 41 from the free throw line. They win
Mm-hmm.
that game. If they shoot 75% from the line, they win that game going away. Houston's not even playing.
Yes.
So Houston, to me, they're not Final Four material. So I'm going with Duke here for sure. I think Duke's on a roll. I think I think they half-assed the ACC tournament, to be honest with you, which doesn't really hurt them. They got more rest. They got a chance to heal up a little bit, and I think they're ready to go. Man, I got them in my Final Four, and I'm sticking by that anyway.
Okay, so this is your bang your bookie play. B squared, bang the bookie, Duke. We gave you that play the last time, which was B squared, bang the bookie. We told you take Gonzaga minus the 3 and minus in a exotic minus 6.5. Everything came home, and so we're back together on Duke and the Blue Devils. And I probably expect to see them in the Elite Eight, but the question becomes, is it an all-ACC Elite Eight, or does Marquette get through? Over under 150. Marquette can score. Marquette's got Tyler Kolek back, seems to be healthy. NC State's probably.
Lost your sound. Lost your sound. Lost your sound, Trev. Lost your sound.
I'm gonna try joining, see what happens. Yeah, I guess maybe you weren't. No, it's just recording me.
All right, so believe it or not, we're back live from a recording disaster. That's what you have when you have children, and they just persist on calling, just continue because it's their spring break. 14-year-olds calling, and then you have audio problems. And we're new to this, and we apologize for the technical difficulties. But Brad, we're back.
I felt like I was on the Titanic there for a minute. I was getting ready to get in the water, and it was not a pleasant thought.
It was women and children first, so
Exactly.
you and I would have been left behind. So
And I
I
hate
tried
cold
to
water. I hate cold water.
I know. And I finally told her, I'm like, you got to stop calling me. I'm like, this is important. So we're going to wrap this thing up in the next 5 minutes, but we got to get our plays recorded and tell you guys what we're thinking about doing here. So we have an NC State game and a Marquette game. It's pretty much where we left you off. So when you see the audio recording kind of go haywire, pick up the second part of the podcast, which we're going to upload, and listen to the final 5 minutes here because we're going to give you what we told you was the bang the bookie squared play of the week. We're taking Duke minus 4.5. We're transitioning over now to the NC State Marquette game at an over-under of 150, minus 6.5 for Marquette. Your thoughts?
I feel the Cinderella slipper is going to come off in this game. I like Marquette. I think with our boy Tyler back in the lineup playing well, Marquette was one of the top 4 or 5 teams in the nation all year long till he got hurt. I think they're backfiring on all cylinders. I look for them to actually put a beat down on NC State. I think the Cinderella story is over.
You do. You really do.
I do, and I know you like the Wolfpack. I know you like the big man down low, and I get all that. But
DJ Burns, man.
I know,
Burns,
and he's a great story. I like him too. He's a great story. Marquette for a long part of this season has been one of the best teams in the nation, and again they got all their pieces back, and I just think they're better than NC State. In fact, I got my favorite prop of the night is on this game here. Let me know when you're ready.
Well, so my thing is I'm thinking, I don't know. I'm in the. This is kind of one of those things where I'm like, I don't think this is a play for me because I'm looking and I'm like, I love DJ Burns, by Eddie Lampkin, kind of the same thing. College basketball player by day, street dealer by night. I like the game that they bring. I don't know. I think NC State can hang. I really do.
So don't play the game. I've got a prop here I like.
Okay. So give me your prop and I will give you mine first.
Okay.
I'm on the DJ Horn train. I think this guy is a really good player at NC State. You're laughing.
You really like this guy. I'm afraid I'm going to show up at your house this weekend.
No.
And he's going to be there.
No. That's DJ Burns. They have DJ Horn too. DJ.
Oh, we got a pair of DJs. Yes. My bad. Good call.
Yes. Different parents. Same.
So you're on the DJ train. You're just parents. On the DJ train.
Yeah, DJ train. So I'm taking DJ Horn for what I think will be over. He attempts a ton of threes. He doesn't consistently make them, but he's going to have to take a lot with the way Marquette plays defense. So I'm going to take the over 2.5, and I think DJ Horn can get there. So I'm kind of not really playing this game, the over-under or the game itself. I tend to lean NC State, but usually when we have a difference in opinion, I'm not usually a fan of putting a unit on that, but I do like DJ Horn over the 2.5 3-pointers. But go ahead and give me your prop play that you've been so excited to share.
I like Tyler Kolek, first bucket, plus 550. And I like Marquette. The method of the first bucket is the other part of it. And it's Marquette as a 2-point field goal is plus 145. And here's why I like it. I think Marquette wins the tip. They got a real wiry center. The name of him escapes me at the moment.
Iguodala.
Okay. I think he wins the tip. I think it goes to Kolek. I think Kolek drives to the hoop and scores a layup. Just having a premonition, man. I'm having a premonition. So, and I mean, put a little bit of money on it. It's 5 plus 550 if Kolek has the first bucket, and it's plus 145 if Marquette's first bucket is a 2-pointer. That
Okay,
I
but
mean,
does Polik's first basket have to be? Is that 550? Is that with just a 2, or can he hit a 3?
well, no. He can hit any kind of bucket. If he's the first scorer, I'm saying if you're going to parlay it, I had him as taking it to the hole and scoring. So I threw the 2-point field goal in. There was another plus 145. So if you parlayed those
Okay,
two, maybe take Kolek scoring the first bucket just straight up plus
I'm gonna go.
550.
I'm gonna go Polik scoring the first basket. So let's. I'm gonna go with you on that. And how much
Okay.
is the prop play again valued at?
5 plus 550.
Okay, so
Pull
let's
a five
quickly
dollar
talk
bill
about
on it.
this. Let's
Pull a
quickly talk
five
about
dollar
this for
bill.
for just a minute. If you're looking at a prop play, and usually a unit for me is 25,
Well,
I'm
yeah.
not going to I'm going to, because it's plus 550, I might go like a half a unit. So maybe I'm going $12.50, and that's going to pay me out in the range of close to $70 if I do my math quick and I do it right. Good value, and I like
Good.
it. And
That's why I liked it. Good
okay,
value.
all right, and I do like it. So we come to the final the final 2 games, 4 teams in the Midwest region. We have Purdue, who was your big play the other night, and it was at -5.5, and you hammered that. Well done to you. They had no problem whatsoever with that. And so, what are you thinking? -5.5 against the Zags and over 155.
If I had to play one, it would be the over. The only reason I don't like the spread is, I think Gonzaga's gelling. I'd still like Purdue to win. I just don't know by how much, but I think it's going to be an up and down game. And I'm just still waiting to see someone try to stop Zach Eaddy. I mean, again, the only guys I've seen slow him down at all were the guys in the Big Ten, and that's because they played him a couple of times or they played him over the last couple of years. They kind of have an idea how to defend him. If you've never played Zach Eaddy, it's the first time you've seen him. It can be overwhelming, and it's all going to come down to how it's officiated. If they let him push guys around and throw elbows and bring that shoulder in, you can't stop the guy, man. I mean, he is just an anomaly in the college game today. And I don't believe Gonzaga has seen anybody like him all year. So it's a lot to take in. The main thing when you play him is you got to knock down your 3-point shots and you got to try to get him in some kind of foul trouble. If you can because Purdue, honest to God, if you get Eaddy off the court, they're average at best. He is that much. He brings them up to a number 1 seed and possibly number 1 seed overall the entire tournament. If you can get him off the court, it just changes everything. But if he stays on the court, good luck. Good
Well,
luck.
and here's my only thing Purdue's actually the second best shooting team in the NCAA right now, and they're the second best shooting 3-point team because of the space that Zach Eaddy creates. And my
Absolutely.
thing is they go inside and then they go outside, and that's how they make these shots. But I'm with you. If you get him off the floor and you keep it going, I think Gonzaga has a chance to compete, and this is where Gonzaga gets him. It's
Okay.
plus 5.5. I like Gonzaga. This Graham Ike kid has been playing really, really well. They have Anton Watson, Nolan Hickman, and then they have a Ryan Nebhard. And Nebhard last year played at Creighton. He was their guard.
He's
And I
tough.
think, is going to be able to control the tempo and control the pace, in my opinion. Purdue, to me, is beatable. We saw it happen last year. Not much change from when they lost to Fairleigh Dickinson as the 1, and Fairleigh Dickinson beat him as the 16. And so I just think it's too many points again. 5.5 to me is just too many. We talked about Uconn laying the 10.5, and we took San Diego State. For me, this is going to be a play on Gonzaga taking the 5.5. I don't know whether they win, but I think they keep it close and within the line.
And Mark Fuse, I mean, he's one of the best in the business. So if it's a close game, he's going to push the right buttons. Absolutely. It's a good matchup, really, is what it is. It's
It
a
is.
shame it's not like to get into the Final Four, but it's going to be a hell of a game. I wouldn't play the spread myself personally. I might look to put some action on the over because I do believe it's going to be up and down.
Okay, so I come to our last game. So we got Creighton, Tennessee. And again, I don't just play things to play things. Here's the problem. It's the last game of the night between the 8 games. And you're probably sitting there trying to figure out, I got to play something. So I'm like, man. And then this game, look, it's -2.5 in favor of Tennessee. I'm like, Creighton's actually pretty good. They got Ryan Kalkbrenner on the inside. Tennessee's got some guys that can play. You got Shireman and Alexander for Creighton, but Tennessee's got one thing that very few teams have, and that's Dalton Connect. And that kid can do it on his own.
Stud.
What do you think?
I got Tennessee. I mean, in my bracket is all I'm saying. I got Tennessee there. They again, not to blow the Illinois horn, but Illinois went in there earlier in the year and played Tennessee, and it was a rough and tumble game, and Tennessee won at the end. But they are solid. They are a very well coached team, and as is Creighton. I mean, you can't take that. That game is I mean, grab a coin and toss it up in the air, really, if you want my honest opinion.
Okay. And so, we bring you the conclusion of the show by trying to tell you this. You do not need to play every single game. Find an angle. Maybe there is a prop on Dalton Connect or something like that, or on Shireman or Kalkbrenner. Traditionally, Creighton, believe it or not, has been playing better defensive basketball, and Tennessee usually likes to grind and slow things down. So maybe this is one of these things where it's a live play where you're watching and you're actually trying to determine in game, doing your homework in game instead of trying to have your fifth and sixth Maker's Mark or Knob Creek. You're watching the game and you're trying to digest the flow, and you're like, hey, I think this game is kind of grinding to a halt. I'm going to play the under. Maybe that's the play here.
Or you see the Dalton kids on fire, and you're like, "There's no way he's letting them lose tonight." Then you go ahead and play your bet. That's a good call. I like that angle.
And it's the last game, so you're feeling like you got to play it, but don't feel like you got to play it from the jump just because you have to. So, if we take a look quick back at our plays again, San Diego State, we were +10.5 on that game. We were looking at Illinois. That is a winner for us on Illinois. Here in Illinois, we cannot play it, but we are going to find somebody somewhere on some street corner to play it at +1.5. We're looking at North Carolina covering the 3.5. We really like that game. The over-under and 173. The game should just be bananas. So buckle up, get ready, have fun. Clemson, Arizona. We had Arizona at -7. No play on your over-under. We differed on Houston and Duke, so we cannot lose there. We did not. Wait, this is the bank.
Duke.
This is the bookie square. Duke +4.5. We did have the same play. So my apologies. Yeah, you got to get in there.
Pound the book. Pound the book on that one.
And we pounded the book on Gonzaga in the last round, and boy, did we hit that. We hit that really, really well when they played Kansas. So we are on Duke together at +4.5. This is the game we differed. I like NC State. You like Marquette, so we can't lose. I think it should be a good game. You're expecting it to get a little out of hand. I think it depends on Tyler Kolek and then the final two plays. I like Gonzaga. You're kind of indifferent on the two. Is that fair to say?
Fair.
You don't have to play everything. In the last game, we're thinking play live and in game. The one thing I would say, if there was one over-under, which we hadn't discussed the play, I do think that Purdue and Gonzaga game could be played at a much faster pace than what Las Vegas expects.
That was the only angle I wanted. I believe that's a shootout there.
Okay.
I believe it's a shootout. So I'm with you there.
Okay. Well, this wraps up our third series of Less Talk, More Action. We're putting these picks out there live, so at least people can keep track of what we're doing. I cannot imagine, though, we're going to go 92% like we did last time. But we all appreciate you hanging with us through our audio problems and hanging in there and hopefully watching the remainder of it. We will be back for an Elite Eight, and we will be back, of course, before the Final Four, and we will break it all down. Until then, everybody, have a great time.
One last little PSA, though. Trevor said about his daughter calling, and that was our technical difficulty. Always take your daughter's call, regardless if you're doing a podcast or not.
Here we go. Time. I'll head off to being a better parent and a better father right after this. Enjoy the games, everybody.
Ciao for now.